I don't even have the news story here, but here's what's going on. Here's what's the latest, folks. And we are live coming to you here from the Sweatpants capital in Western Canada on this Wednesday, March 24th. The NHL fired referee Tim Peel this morning. He's reffed over 1,300 games because last night in the Detroit-Nashville game, he had left his mic on and he admitted to one of the players that he made a makeup call. How'd he get one on Nashville? NHL fired him today. Now, here's the thing. I got to defer to the Moose here. Man, we have the best team, by the way, in broadcasting. You do your thing, I do my thing. Those guys do their thing. Those people do their thing. We all work together, and it wins.
Yeah.
So you were reading some little blog in the news break? Well, I ran out.
That's right.
I'm flabbergasted. That's why I said I can't believe what you were telling me that Paul Stewart has said about Tim Peel.
Yeah.
I'm stunned.
Paul Stewart wrote the article, the former referee.
Yeah.
One of the greatest, right? Around for a long time. And he basically backed the NHL and said he needed to be fired immediately because you can't fabricate a call, ever. You know, the integrity of officiating.
He didn't fabricate a call.
And my thought instantly is, and there's a whole long article on it, and you can Google it, I'm sure, and find it. The fabricate, like when a makeup call happens, or when you're trying to balance things out or manage the game, you're not making a call up. Like for me to you, saying that I slashed you. I'm like, I didn't even touch him. That's not happening. Okay? But what might happen is they're watching for the next time that I get close and my stick gets close to you or I wrap my arms around and it kind of looks like it could be a hold, even though I'm not really infracting you, but it's kind of happening. Ticky-tack. I'll call it. You go looking for something, waiting for something anything that resembles a penalty. And then you call it.
You're not making it up.
You don't make it up and just blow your whistle when nobody's touching.
And that's what Paul Stewart's saying, and I'm astounded because I was a Paul Stewart fan. But this is driving me even further crazy. Travis Backman's watching from Pure Country FM. Great guy. Love Travis Backman. He says, Kerry Fraser nailed it. The firing of Peel is a joke, to say the least. Kerry Fraser said that? I remember watching a documentary where Kerry Fraser was interviewed, and he said, my officiating has never decided a game. I took my shoe off and threw it at the TV. I'm like, you're lying. You're lying. Don't tell me officiating has not dictated the outcomes in games for 100 years. So now Kerry Fraser comes out and supports Tim Peel? That shocks the hell out of me. I'm sorry to rant for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, but why is everybody lying? Can we just get to the truth here? You trying to tell me the makeup calls hasn't happened for 100 and however many years of NHL hockey? And you're going to fire this guy because the hot mic caught it? It's not his fault. That's what he said. We said it an hour ago. Those of us that have been in the game of hockey our entire lives not only know the makeup calls are a thing, we don't have a problem with it. Oh, we got a penalty, but it's just a makeup call.
Yeah, and the complete opposite. So put yourself in the playoffs, and you could talk to your referee, be like, look, he tripped him, but it didn't affect the play, so I didn't call it. And you're like, well, it's a penalty. You should have called it. Well, he knew that calling that penalty in overtime of the playoff game, a trip that didn't affect the game, could have led to a power play that ended up with a goal based on an accident. Doesn't affect the game. He doesn't call it. That's managing the game.
From our viewers, and bring it in. Bring in as much viewer comments if we can. From the Hockey Club, watching in Tallahassee, Florida, the Hockey Club podcast in Tallahassee. He says, football guys don't understand the importance of managing a hockey game. 60 nonstop minutes of action versus stop-and-go football with time to cool down. Refs temper violence. They absolutely do. And it's just, for years, I was told as the hockey guy working in football, stick to hockey. Now I finally get a chance to say, stick to football. Because this is the way the game's officiated. And I'm highly, highly disappointed in the National Hockey League that they would fire a guy, a 1,300-year veteran, over doing nothing wrong. His only thing, I guess, is saying that he made a makeup call. He shouldn't have admitted it to anybody. Just keep it inside. From Noogsy, the voice of the Hounds, he says, as a Leafs fan, I feel even more strongly about that, Rod. Kerry Fraser, give me a break. John Burns has dropped $5 to get his comment read. the only fans of sports talk here. He says, John Burns in Calgary, Game 6, 2004, the audio clip of the video review guys saying, we can let Martin Zelena get a 4th series-winning goal. I'm sure it's somewhere. Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I'm trying to go through this. I'm sorry, the comments are coming in so crazy. I got to get caught up here. Troy Westwood, we got to give him equal time. Westy watching in Winnipeg Live, he says there are aspects of the game that officials will manage. The rules are not one of those aspects. The players, through their skill, effort, and decision-making, determine the outcome, not an official managing the rules. It must be nice to live in a world of sunshine, rainbows, pixie dust, and unicorn pee.
I know.
It's not the way it is. It's not the way it is.
We'll say to Troy's comment, though, he's right in that comment, I think. Players determine the outcome, not an official managing the rules determining the outcome. But that officials, trying to manage the game so that the players determine the outcome. Just keep it fair. Keep it
right
even.
to the
Don't
end.
let it get out of control.
Robin, watching in Prince Albert, the gateway to the north, says Bronco Plumbing and Heating getting a lot of plugs today. Keep it up, Rod. Love it. I'm just astounded. Your authorized Bryant Furnace dealer. You were on a Zoom call this morning. You missed our very important pre-show meeting.
I know.
You missed the whole thing. I said to Clark, I've really realized something the last 2 years since I stepped out of the machine, the full-time machine of the pro sports world, how much people don't understand. I lived in a vacuum for 46 years of my life in it. When I got out of it, I'm like, people don't understand what goes on in the vacuum. Is it our job to tell them or not? I don't know. I'm lost. To think that the players decide it. No, yes, in fantasy, yes. In the fantasy world, I don't mean fantasy football. It would be nice that the players decided it. Darren, didn't you say in the break, in the perfect world, we wouldn't even need refs?
That's the idea, right? The refs are there to let them play. And the games where there's no penalties called are the best games ever. And we know there's infractions here and there, but they don't affect the game. The trip doesn't affect the game. So we let them go. And in football, the less flags, the better. There's holding and there's different things on every play. But if it's not affecting the play, creating an advantage, taking an advantage away, if it's not cheating, then it doesn't need to be called. That's what I mean by managing the game, right? Deciding what's warranted of a call, right? And what's not. And we do this in every aspect of life. You do it disciplining your kids and setting rules on curfews. You do it, police do it with the law, right? With all the time, right? When we issue warnings for being 2 kilometers an hour over the speed limit.
Yeah.
You understand the situation, but it's in a school zone, so we hammer down because that's danger. You know what I mean? You have to be able to apply these things.
And now, Jason in Red Deer. Calls have never decided the outcome of a game. Remember the Sharks versus Knights? Knights up by 3, I think, and got a 5-minute major because of a stupid call and cost them 3 goals during that power play. They lost the game. Don't tell me. That's why I threw my shoe at the television when Kerry Fraser said his officiating's never decided a game. You've reffed over 1,000 games. You never have. You're lying to me. Stop lying to me. And as long as people continue to lie in leadership, enforcement positions, I have less and less faith in the integrity of the world, sports or otherwise. Doug McKell watching, football coach, as you know, from Indian Head. Mm-hmm. Unless you can find something other than a human to be a referee, you have to let the referee be human. We say it all the time. This is great, great, great. Perfect segue to the CFL, by the way. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says in Calgary, I remember referee Danny Davis cost the British Bulldogs the WWF Tag Team title in 1986. Just saying.
Yes.
What are you saying? It's fixed. Listen, can we just delve to the CFL for a second?
Yes.
And this is scary for the CFL, that a referee being fired has been a hotter topic on what we'd like to believe is a CFL show than the news from Dave Naylor last night on TSN that the owners in the CFL have proposed a 20% pay cut to the players in the event they have to start the season on time, but with no fans. Do I need to go back and say what the agent texted me? I can paraphrase it. He said they've already taken one pay cut. You add this second pay cut, there will be guys that will be taking a 30 to 40% pay cut just to play this year. And on the heels of this, Clark has just informed me that Delvin Breaux has announced his retirement from professional football. One of the biggest stars in the Canadian Football League, and a great guy, and the kind of person that you want in the Canadian Football League, just said, I've weighed I can't. And what did I say an hour ago? I don't like this at all. I'd like to see this CFL go out and sell more sponsorships, raise more money. That's what I'd like to see. But that's not the way the guys running the CFL look at it. It's cut, and we'll have a little extra money here from the TV deal that we can get things going, and that will allow us to play games to enable single game betting, and all of a sudden we're going to be rich again, and we're going to save all this, and we don't need the XFL. That's my read on it. And the sucky thing for the players is that they got to make a decision. And that decision is, can I play for this or can I not? And Delvin Breaux, or will I play for this or will I not? And Delvin Breaux said, no, I won't. And I know exactly where they're coming from. I laugh at the people that don't understand how we got started with what we're doing here. I could have gone and worked at some radio station anywhere in this country, but I would have uproot and move and work for this, and I don't want to. No. So we're going to do this. These players are looking at the same thing. Is it worth it to me to uproot my family, move to another country, barely be able to pay to live? For what? Delvin Breaux's already been to the NFL. What's he got to prove? Right? I can see the young kids.
That's right.
I can see the young kids doing it. Or play in the fan-controlled football league, because we had a wonderful discussion an hour ago with Don Unamba of the Ottawa Redblacks, who said guys played in that league, the fan-controlled football league, because they just wanted to play the game. And actually, I was just reading in the last 24 hours, those guys got $300 to $500 a week cash in their pocket to play in the fan-controlled football league. I know it's not much, but to weigh the risks to come to Canada if you're an American, what you're going to be out with taxes and costs and expenses, you could see how that would be a very viable option for a young American football player, right? And this is a topic, you know what, we'll debate it deep on Friday with John Frenzy, whereby maybe the Canadian Football League becomes 85% Canadian. There is that thought. It used to be that. Up until late 60s, mid to late 60s and into the 70s. It used to be that. And it paid very well. Paid more than the National Football League, kids. It's a true story. The question is, could they sell it? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Would enough Canadians watch it and buy tickets for it to be viable? That's the $64,000 question. So anyways, I've yapped enough. We got about a minute and a half before we bring on Phil the Thrill. Your take on the CFL pay cut proposal? Because the players are going to take it. You know they're going to take it.
There's enough players. And there's enough players that aren't in the Canadian Football League that would love to play. You know, college players who never got an opportunity to play pro, who just need a chance on a pro roster, don't have the greatest tape, but all of a sudden they get that opportunity, they'll play. There's enough, U Sports players to play. That's not going to. Unfortunately, that's not going to be an issue. It's a matter of how much are they willing to let the overall product drop to still play. That'll be the question. But to me, it was positive and exciting to hear that there was a plan, because we all just hope there's a plan, but we never actually hear it, and we never hear. Are they actually thinking about playing on time? They say they want to start on time, but we don't really believe them because we haven't heard anything. Well, now we know that they've actually tabled a proposal, and they actually have an option. And if they say no, then at least we knew that was the option to play on time, and now we know that we're waiting until they let us put fans in the stands. Right? If the players say no, then we'll know that the next option is for the CFL to wait for fans in the stands. So to me, it was optimism, when I first heard it. But I feel so bad for the players. I feel so bad for the players because those veterans who are taking the biggest dollar figure in cuts, 20%, the more you make, it's a bigger cut. Those are the guys I feel bad for because they got decisions to make.
One day people are going to look back and go, Rod was right. I said this league's going to be unrecognizable by the time it comes back, and today is more proof of that. Just a couple quick text messages from Todd in Langenberg says, does it change anything if Peel was the one who left his own mic on? From the Prairie Mobile text line. So what? He exposed this dirty little secret that's actually true because he was caught on a live mic? Why should he be fired? But I guess it happens. Jim Wagner. Morning, boys. We are not going off the rails. We are completely off the rails on this crazy train. Have a great day, all. Regarding officiating, Devin in Regina says WWF referee Earl Hebner had more controversies, i.e. Bret Hart, Montreal screw job. Please, let's not compare the NHL to the WWF. Can we stop with the comparisons? And from Metal Shingle Guy, he says, so the cap went down 20%. How do the Argos get there? The cap hasn't gone down at all. You have to understand the cap is at $5.3 million. That's not gone down. They have arbitrarily asked the players to voluntarily take pay cuts of 20% on top of the original 20%. The cap's still there. When TSN starts paying them their TV money, they're still going to get this amount of money. The difference is the wiggle room between what they're paying the players and what they're getting from TSN. That's where the money's coming from. I wondered where they were going to get the money. Now we know. Off the players' backs.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.